I think clearly there's a lack of clear thinking, partly. For example, thinking about the difference between ends and means. Money in economic life should be a means, not an end. It should facilitate the working of markets. The purpose of economic life is not to have one money for everybody, it is to encourage production and consumption. But then somehow an object like a single money acquires a prestige of its own, which is detached from economic reality and detached from what should be the functions of a money, and so it gains in importance relative to the things that really matter. That's the only way I can explain it, because it's not only stupid people who try to preserve the euro. Otherwise intelligent people, as it were, you know, they leave their intelligence in the cloakroom with their hat and coat and must save the euro. It's a tragedy. The euro is a source of weakness for the whole economy, for itself in the first instance, because the southern countries in particular, who have, as it were, an overvalued currency, for whom the euro is an overvalued currency, are unable to devalue and increase their demand for goods and services from the major exporting economies like Germany. But Europe itself is, after all, a few hundred million people. It's an important element in the world economy, and if the eurozone or the European Union itself is growing slowly and not adding to world demand, some of this weakness spreads to the rest of the world. So, you know, the weakness is not contained within Europe, it spills over. And what is particularly regretful is that this, although it's already been happening for most of 10 years, it has coincided with other sources of weakness in the world economy, like the recession in China, and of course the after effects of the subprime mortgage crisis in America and in the world banking system. It's an irony, and it's rather a tragedy. In the 1930s, under the Third Reich, Hitler, the mechanism used by Germany to dominate the markets of Central and Eastern Europe was to have a deliberately undervalued currency. The Deutschmark was very cheap, so its goods were bought by all the citizens of, you know, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, Poland, Eastern Europe, and so on. And in turn, buying those goods, they got into debt to Germany, and Germany then had the means of buying up different sections of their economy. Now, the awful thing is, within the euro today, from quite different motives, of course, Germany is not out to be the dictator of the world, but it is doing exactly the same thing. The German currency, namely the euro, is for Germany undervalued, makes it easier for them to build up claims, to build up credits vis-a-vis Southern Europe, with the Greeks, the Italians, the Spaniards are all in debt to Germany, and we have a copy of the economic imbalance now in the 2010s that existed in the 1930s. Yes, that's right. I mean, look, we have to be careful here. A devaluation can be unsuccessful. If a currency devalues, for example, we often saw this in many Latin American countries, particularly Argentina. If you devalue by some huge amount, 50%, and then the next month prices rise by 50%, internally you haven't achieved anything. The conditions for the success of a devaluation of an exchange rate are that internal costs and prices, especially money wages, must not be allowed to rise by a similar amount. In other words, if you devalue by 20%, don't let money wages increase by more than 5 or 10%. Now, this is tough because it means that the wage earners, or the recipients of income, which is a substitute for wages like unemployment benefit, they will immediately suffer because their purchasing power will diminish. Unfortunately, the benefits of devaluation take more time to arrive. They arise from the fact that when money wages stay where they are, but the prices go up, exports and import substitution, but especially exports, are more profitable. So companies can increase their business abroad, can take on more labor and so reduce unemployment, and generally get the economy growing again. But there is a time lag there. The immediate effect is uncomfortable. And it's necessary that it should be uncomfortable for the benefits to be achieved further in the future.